Welcome, Vanakkam, good morning, Jai Hind. The Kisa Kursika controversy refuses to settle down. I urge, indeed I demand, that Rahul Gandhi come out in the open, clarify the truth of the matter, and help the people of India to see this issue in its truth rather than allow it to fester as a point of needless controversy. In order to get into this issue, let's listen to the anger of a somewhat reputed channel, national channel. Every channel is national. And we'll take our thinking forward from there. Let me state it again in case anybody is in any doubt. We look at these issues only because issues are the best introductions to various strands of thought. If you want to think factually, realistically, then you have to use contemporary events, particularly events to which importance is attached by various stakeholders of public life, and then formulate your own framework of understanding without fear or favor. Hold on to the discipline of objectivity, which is the ability to see the pros and cons of an issue. That will then lead you to significant understanding of the structure of reality, the truth of where we are, which I believe is a beneficial exercise. So we look at these situations, these issues, these controversies as learning experiences and not as opportunities to adopt a partisan stand in favor of this camp or that camp. Let me play the soundtrack of the television anchor's presentation of this Kisa Kursika controversy. Straight away to the anchor.
The opposition. Has the government been petty? That is the charge the Congress is leveling. But there are also responses that have come in from the MOD. MOD, remember, is the Ministry of Defense that really looks after a lot of these seating arrangements on both the Independence Day and the Republic Day. And they say that Rahul Gandhi was offered a front row seat. But it is Rahul Gandhi, they claim, who said no. I want to go and sit with the commoners. So what is this fracas all about? Is this a distraction, as the BJP would want us to believe, or there is really merit in this charge that the Congress is leveling? Rahul Gandhi continues to be quiet, but there is this picture that is out on the social media doing the rounds of what has happened so far. Now this is a full image to help you understand who was seated where when it comes to the entire celebrations today at the Independence Day. Let's begin by looking at who all you can see in the front row. You see the Union Home Minister Amit Shah here seated along with, his wife here. You also have the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. You have the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla here. The CJI D.Y. Chandrachud along with his wife. So that is the front row. When you look back, you will see, all our Olympians, the heroes who've won medals and laurels for the country, all seated behind in the second, third, fourth, and the fifth rows. If you look very closely here to a spot where you will see just a little bit of a shadow of a Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi is just sitting behind here in the second last row. Now, the Congress says that he has a rank similar to a cabinet minister who should have been sitting in the front row. The BJP says nothing doing. He was offered a front row seat, but he said, I'm going to go and sit with the commoners. So that is the fight. The kiss.
All right. Now, the anger goes on and on, lasts for about 24 minutes. Obviously, there is no need to play the whole soundtrack, the audio track. Now, if you really look at the situation, it is laughably simple. It is an undisputed fact that there is a protocol. It's also an undisputed fact that Rahul Gandhi is the leader of the opposition. It's also an admitted fact that the leader of the opposition has a well defined position according to the protocol applicable to the context. This much is clear. It's also a proven fact that Rahul Gandhi is seated in the fifth row among and somewhat hidden by the Olympians who have just returned from the Summer Olympics in Paris. So, this much is indisputable. I don't think there is any scope for controversy or dispute with regard to these 4 or 5 facts I have enumerated. Now, the question is this, a simple question. Did Rahul Gandhi on his own opt to sit with the Olympians? Did he choose not to avail himself of the protocol provisions and decide to identify himself with the sports persons, the athletes of India? This is the only issue. And this issue can be settled in less than a minute by Rahul Gandhi coming out and issuing a statement. I sincerely hope he does. And through this video, I call upon him to do so. Because if he is a political leader of national stature, and if he wants to be something more than a politician and grow to the dimension of being a statesman, and I'll come to the distinction in a while, he has to ensure that the truth about any situation, particularly a situation involving himself, where he himself is in the eye of the storm or is the nucleus of the controversy, the truth is revealed forthwith without any delay, because any delay in this matter will allow speculations, particularly partisan speculations of incremental bitterness, will vitiate the atmosphere and cause an already aggravated situation to degenerate further, which is in nobody's interest, and surely it is not in the interest of the nation. And I have no doubt at all that Rahul Gandhi is committed to the national interest, and therefore he will come out in the open and provide a clarification on this issue. Now, if India as a nation cannot settle a dispute like this, it speaks very poorly of us as a nation. Was a seat allotted to Rahul Gandhi, or was Rahul Gandhi informed to the effect that a seat was being allotted to him as per the existing protocol? And even if he was not informed in advance, was Rahul Gandhi received by any of the ushers as he arrived at the site and led to the allotted seat, upon which he said, no, I would rather sit with the athletes? Or was it the case that the seat was already fixed for him where he happened to sit? This is the simple issue. And if this issue, the truth of this issue cannot be revealed, then I think I'm far more worried about our incapacity to witness the truth than about whether or not somebody got a seat. And I think this would reveal a pathology in the ethical health and wholeness of the country or stature of the country, which for a citizen like me is a matter of great worry. Now, the degree of confusion was aggravated by 2 departments or 2 ministries of the government itself. The earlier version or the earlier explanation offered in this context was by another ministry, and since everybody knows which that ministry is, I don't want to mention it, to the effect that this time the government wanted the focus to be on the Olympians who brought honor and glory to India, and therefore they decided that they should be foregrounded and Rahul Gandhi should take a back seat. Now, in that context, what needs to be explained is whether it is absolutely essential that Rahul Gandhi should be shown in a poor light, or disrespect to Rahul Gandhi should necessarily be shown in order to show respect for the Olympians, or whether it is not possible to combine the two. It makes absolutely no sense. Rather, it makes a poor argument offered in bad taste that Olympians can be honored only by dishonoring Rahul Gandhi. There is no way this logic can ever be established or defended. Is it because this explanation offered earlier, which is blatantly and patently awkward, that a new explanation is being advanced by the Ministry of Defense this time, as the anchor of this television channel points out? Now, as citizens, we don't have authentic information as yet, and the person who can give the authentic information is Rahul Gandhi, and unfortunately, for reasons that are not known to me, he chooses to be quiet. And if my understanding of Rahul Gandhi is right, I don't think he'll keep quiet for long, and he'll come out in the open and offer his explanations which would settle this issue on the basis of truth. Let me close this very small video by saying that I will not discredit the explanation offered by the Ministry of Defense, because this is quite in keeping with the character of Rahul Gandhi, that he does not seek prominence or visibility for himself. Rather, he instinctively identifies himself with the people of India at all levels and all walks of life. And I know that Rahul Gandhi is a sports person, and he takes interest in various sporting events. His own particular event was shooting. I remember Rahul Gandhi as a student of St. Stephen's College. He was also interested in harpooning. So he is somebody who takes a keen interest in sports and games. And even now, though he is 53, 54 years old, he keeps remarkably, commendably fit, as was amply evident in the Bharat Jodo Yatra, where he not only walked miles and miles and miles, which nobody gave him credit for, or nobody thought he would be capable of. We have also seen him running with children in the course of his yatra. And you would have seen several videos in YouTube showing Rahul Gandhi with the wrestlers, trying to learn from them some trick or the other, and imparting some trick or the other to them. And this is not a kind of choreographed thing, because anyone who has watched Rahul Gandhi's wrestling movements would know that he is not alien to the art of wrestling, because if somebody is merely play acting, especially in a contact sport like wrestling, every movement will be characterized or punctuated by physical awkwardness. I watched, because of my own interest in sports and games, I watched Rahul Gandhi's physical movements in those videos very carefully and very critically, just to find out if this is being enacted for public consumption. And I came to the conclusion, without any shadow of doubt, that the video movements are genuine and they are not choreographed or they are not concocted. So Rahul Gandhi's interest in sports and games, and his own physical fitness, and his own youthful mind, the youthful spirit that he exemplifies, which is the reason why he is becoming increasingly a center of attraction, particularly for young people. The agility of his mind, as evident in the speeches that he makes in the parliament, the agility and the presence of mind he shows in responding to situations, the physical stamina he shows in putting up with hardships, privations, and physical exercises, exertions involved in extensive travel, reaching out to people in all kinds of situations, reaching places which are sometimes quite inaccessible, and his cheerful willingness to put up with whatever struggle it takes to do so. All this indicates a certain youthfulness of the body, mind, and spirit. And therefore, if Rahul Gandhi chose to identify himself in that most important ceremonial context with the Olympians of India, I would say that it is completely in keeping with the character and disposition of Rahul Gandhi. I can't imagine any other leader of the opposition that we have seen in the last, say, 50 years who would spontaneously choose to do so. And this is also Rahul Gandhi's distinction. And that's a reason, that's a second reason, apart from the duty to make truth prevail in order to settle the controversy once and for all. The second reason why Rahul Gandhi needs to come and state the truth in the open is this. But I can understand that he will feel a little hesitant to do so because, given the sensibility and kind of refinement, cultural refinement Rahul Gandhi exemplifies, he would think that if he came out in the open and said, well, I rather chose to be with the athletes of India than sit with these old politicians and all the rest of it, it would seem as though he is blowing his own trumpet, which is something that Rahul Gandhi never does. Never. He never boasts of anything about himself. Other people will boast. We know what degree and what genre of boasting happens in India's public life. You will never see Rahul Gandhi boasting of anything. For example, have you ever heard Rahul Gandhi boasting of his Bharat Jodo Yatra or Nyaya Yatra? Though these are very significant achievements resulting from very arduous and protracted efforts which require a large degree of patience, perseverance, and absolute commitment. So, not easy things to handle. And I was particularly astonished, in fact worried, but Rahul Gandhi walked barefooted in the snowy regions of Kashmir, because by the time he reached Kashmir, it was the height of winter. So all these things show a certain degree of physical hardihood, mental clarity, and spiritual strength. All of these constitute the power of his personality, which today appeals incrementally to the conscience of India and appeals also to the special sensibility of the youth of India, which of course is a matter of worry for the opposite camp. So I can understand if Rahul Gandhi feels inhibited in coming out in the open, offering an explanation as to why he chose to sit among the Olympians. After all, that's one way he could encourage the Olympians by identifying himself with them. And I'm sure that every young person who was sitting with him would have experienced the intended encouragement offered by the leader of the opposition. In fact, I wish these Olympians were brought right to the front and made to sit among the cabinet ministers. Say one cabinet minister, an Olympian, another cabinet minister, an Olympian. At least the 6 medal winners should have been brought to the front row and made to sit interspersing the cabinet ministers, the political ultimate supermen of our country. I conspicuously missed our hapless wrestler, Vinesh Phogat. I wish he had been there. I wish he had been honored specially at the ceremony. That's what we should have done. If we had the slightest care for her, as an unprecedented slot should have been created. If protocol can be played around with, why not the order of the ceremony? And why not we do something special for Bhogat? And it would have been an ideal opportunity to convey the message to the people at large that India stands with this much maligned and deeply wounded athlete. No one can understand the agony that she has had to go through, all for the sake of her country. And I think we just dumped her out of our minds. This is extremely unfair. Now, of course, her appeal to the Olympics, the arbitration court is lost. So she is coming back empty-handed. I sincerely hope that the nation will deal fairly with her. Though I feel sad that a great opportunity was missed. This would have been the ideal opportunity. Somehow it didn't occur to the important people, the people who took the decisions, to make this opportunity an occasion for nationally affirming the worth of this matchless Olympian athlete. So, high time that we left this controversy behind. And as I said in the previous video, we should as a nation cultivate a sense of proportion. Yes, protocol is important. At the same time, there is something far more important than protocol. That was the main burden of my argument in the previous video. It's only ordinary people who cannot distinguish themselves in any other way, people whose personal worth is less than the worth of the chair they occupy, who think that the protocol is the ultimate thing. If your personality is developed to the extent of transcending the worth or importance attached to the position that you occupy, the chair that you occupy, then protocol doesn't matter to you. Rather, your personality should lend luster to the protocol. And if Rahul Gandhi, as a leader of the opposition, is slighted by playing around with the protocol, if that's indeed what has happened, then the insult is not meted out to Rahul Gandhi. The insult is meted out to the protocol itself. The protocol is insulted, not Rahul Gandhi. Now here, if you don't mind, let me offer a personal experience, not from sports but from another field, just to illustrate the point I'm making. When I became the principal of St. Stephen's College in 2007, I inherited the staff car from my predecessor, Dr. Anil Wilson. The car had already been in use for 5 years. So naturally, everybody thought that I would buy a new car. Because that's a practice. That's a practice in all the schools in Delhi Diocese. St. Stephen's is the only college run by Church of North India, Delhi Diocese. The diocese runs other schools where the principals change their cars once in 3 years, and that is the routine. So I did not change my car. I didn't go for a new car. I continued to use the old car. And it went on for the next 3 years. Then I got a call from the bishop in Delhi of the Church of North India. He said, we had a diocesan council meeting the other day at which this was one of the agendas, buying new cars for the heads of institutions of various schools and colleges run by Church of North India, Delhi Diocese. You're the only college. And we were surprised that you haven't asked for a car, and even without consulting you, we have sanctioned a car for you. Now you choose which car do you want. I said, I don't want any car. The car I'm using, though 8 years old, 8 years old, is still functioning smoothly. I don't have a problem. He said, every principal of CNI schools in Delhi change their cars once in 3 years. Your car, you say, is 8 years old and still you don't want to change it. So then I told him the following words. I told him, I said, look, woe unto me if my importance has to be derived from a car. My discipline is that a car should become important because I use it. Even if I use an old ramshackle car, maybe 20 years old, and is completely out of the fashion, the prevailing fashion, that car should carry weight. That car should have special worth because I use it. You may think that this is megalomania. No, that's the truth. That's what I sincerely believe. I believe that it is cheap for any human being to try and show off his personal worth in terms of the material acquisitions or status symbols he may be able to flaunt. I believe it is extremely and embarrassingly cheap. It's not you who ought to borrow importance from a material object. It's a material object, no matter what, that ought to borrow importance from you. I don't believe that my going around in a Rolls Royce adds a naya paisa worth to my personal worth. If I don't have the personality, the character and soul force that Gandhi talked about to add value to the instruments and accoutrements I use, then I should feel ashamed of myself. Gandhi did not need all this elaborate personal attire, personal costume, because he had that matchless personal worth. That was why when the British looked at him, this naked fakir, as Winston Churchill called him, they felt bamboozled. They couldn't understand this man because he was way ahead of them. Nietzsche, if you don't mind a little bit of philosophy, Nietzsche talks about history as a continuous ongoing dialogue between the knight, the royal knight, and the ascetic ideal. The royal knight, the man of power, and the ascetic ideal. One has physical might and the other has spiritual might. The royal knight, the emperor, the royal knight, and the ascetic ideal. And he says, interestingly, he says ultimately it is the ascetic ideal that prevails. So the Rahul Gandhi who chose, if the Ministry of Defense version is correct, if the Rahul Gandhi who chose to be with the commoners is certainly acting consistently with the Rahul Gandhi who opted to sit in a corner of a Delhi eatery, middle class eatery, and have a piece of pizza, whereas all the other political bigwigs were lining up to attend the Ambani wedding in Mumbai. So I see a thread of continuity running through these episodes and several other episodes associated with Rahul Gandhi. You don't see him hobnobbing with the high and the mighty, the rich and the affluent. You see him with the poor, the neglected, the disinherited, disenfranchised sections of our society. People for whom nobody else cares. Think of her sitting with a cobbler. And I'm told that that shoe which the cobbler was repairing, which Rahul Gandhi touched, today has a price tag of 10 lakhs. The amount 10 lakhs will bring another memory to your mind. I don't want to refer to that. That is the test of character. If you touch something, its value should multiply 1,000 times. We should lend worth, value, dignity, respectability to material objects rather than borrow our dignity and importance from material objects. In the second instance, you are a beggar, borrowing your value, worth from material things. In the first instance, you are a king, lending dignity, distinction to whatever you touch. It's up to you to decide whether you want to be a beggar or a king. I think Rahul Gandhi has chosen to be a king, the king of inner life, the king of human dignity, the king of statesmanship. I hope he stays along the right track and remains consistent throughout his life, in which case he would have done far greater good to the people of India, the culture of India, the conscience of India, and the future of India than anyone living today can ever dream of. And I wish him well. Jai Hind. Jai Hind.